Hey, how you doing? Thanks for downloading the show. Welcome to Done is Better Than Perfect. In other words, GardenFork Radio. An eclectic DIY show. It's me and my friends talking about what we think is interesting. Hope you find it interesting. Today, Jimmy Goots and I are talking about pawpaw trees and jet boats. Hello, sir.
Hello. Great to be back. How are you, buddy?
We realized that we haven't done a show together in a long time. And I forget that because we text a lot, you know, on the back chat, the back channel chat, I guess. But it's you need to be on more often because you do interesting stuff.
Well, I've been told that. I've been told interesting. There's been other adjectives. But yeah, my interests are fleeting. So lately, it's just been stuff around the property. You know, we moved out into the country ourselves from like 1 acre to 13 acres.
Nice.
And we used to be 15 minutes out of town, and everybody thought, gosh, you live out here in the country. Oh, this is neat. You got all this land. Look at this. Look at this yard. And now we moved 15 minutes past that into another county, and people don't even want to come visit us because we're so far away.
Wow.
I don't have a problem with that.
My little country place is 3 hours away from the city.
And how often would you say you make that trip? A few times a month? Every other weekend?
Two to three times a month. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much. There's a place that we've been looking at, a few friends that we go on this fishing trip every summer. And just like last year, we got to talking about it, and it blew my mind that I've went for 21 straight years. And
wow.
There's a small creek that flows into the New River, which is like one of the only rivers in the country that flows north. And it goes out of North Carolina into Virginia and up into West Virginia. And when it gets up into West Virginia, it's crazy. And that's where everybody goes whitewater rafting, the New River Gorge. Mm-hmm. And this place that we go, we saw a camp that's for sale on this small creek that 20 years, we've never seen another boat on it. It's just us. Maybe it's the timing, but this camp that's for sale, we're all thinking about getting together and buying it because it's in a pretty neat spot and it's great smallmouth fishing. And just, we could like have, if we had this camp and our friend's camp that we've been going at forever, we'd have a spot to put in. Yep. And boom, take out. Then we wouldn't have to go back. And that's about 3 hours away from here. Nice. Just far enough away to feel like a vacation, but not so far that you just can't seem to make it, you know?
Perfect. So you and I have been kind of doing a back and forth on pawpaw trees. I read about it. I learned about pawpaws from a New York Times article written by my friend Rachel Wharton. And I sent you a link to that, and I'll link to it in the show notes. New York Times has a paywall, so if you just Google the headline with NewYorkTimes.com, I'll put it in the show notes here. I think you get a free pass to read 1 or 2 articles on their site. It's a really great article. And then I didn't realize that my best friend Jimmy here is also into pawpaws. And then you sent me a picture of one the other day, and I'm like, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, they were a thing that I knew about. I grew up in northern West Virginia, near the Ohio River, and pawpaws were a thing. And it wasn't like something that you ran into even every year. It's like I'd go out to happen to be at my cousin's house down by the creek, which is where pawpaws like to live. And I was like, what is this thing? And it would just happen to be the right time of year, the end of August, the early September when they're ripening. And it looks like a green potato. And when you put your fingernails into it, when it's ripe, it'll just pull apart like a overripe banana almost. Uh-huh. And I remember tasting it back then, but then just forgetting about it. And growing up, going to college, having kids, and, moving to 10, 12 different places. And now we end up on this property and we're down in the woods, and I see something on the ground, and I said, what is that? And I picked up and I smelled it. I said, oh my God, this is a pawpaw. And I look up and there's hundreds of them.
Wow.
And I'm like, what do I do with these things? So it was sort of late last year, September, and they were really, really ripe. And you could see piles of seeds and half-eaten ones. I guess the deer absolutely love them, and all sorts of animals. But we were down in the creek, me and my son, a couple of days ago, and they're just floating down the creek.
Ah,
Pawpaws are in the creek everywhere, and you see them. They're half-eaten. And some of them are just like if they've fallen off into the creek, then they're most likely ripe. We haven't had any real rain or wind in a few weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh, pawpaws are in season again. And the patch where we saw them last year, this year there's really not very many at all. But this other place we found, it's like this is the year that they're going crazy. So we're like, we got to collect these, we got to sell them, we got to tell people about them, we got to do something with them. What do we do? So I think we've settled on this weekend. We're going to make some ice cream out of them.
oh, that'd be great.
I can't think of what else to do. I mean, you can't like slice it and eat it, and they're ripe, and then in 2 or 3 days they're spoiled.
Yep.
Probably why they never really took off as a hand fruit or as something you can find in the grocery store. But yeah. You said that you were trying to get one, right? You
Right.
want to get a tree?
I want to grow one in my Brooklyn backyard. They evidently, I don't know if they'll grow in my little house. It's in the top of Connecticut, which is zone 6 minus or 5 plus, 5B. I got to look it up. It gets really cold up there. And I don't know if it'll survive that winter, but the articles you read, they kind of say, oh, it grows all over the East Coast. So I don't know at the top. There is in the middle of Connecticut, there is a nursery, a plant nursery that sells pawpaw trees. And they've been selling out every year lately.
Yeah, I guess it's probably going to be the new hipster thing.
Yeah.
Let's be part of that.
It made it into the New York Times. So I thought if you went to 2 different patches of pawpaws in 2 different years, those trees might be biennials. We have some apple trees in our yard that only fruit every other year.
Same thing. Our apples this year, we have a couple of apple trees in a field away from the house. And this year they were loaded, hundreds of apples on each tree. Every single one of them gone, eaten by deer or squirrels.
Yeah.
But like last year, there was nothing. I don't know, it was 10 or 20, and they never really did this well. And yeah, I think that's sort of the way. Well, like this year, we also have 2 giant fig bushes that are 20 feet tall, side by side. It almost looks like one big bush. And this year, they were just slam loaded with figs. There's spring figs, and then there's fall figs, and these are fall figs. And those things are incredible. I've never eaten a fig Newton in my entire life, but now I'm a fig fan.
We're going to have to talk about figs in another episode because I have 2 fig trees. So,
All right.
So I'm going to reference some stuff in the Rachel Wharton article in the New York Times. And again, I'll link to it, but just do a Google search for pawpaw tree, NewYorkTimes.com in Google. And
little trick.
Rachel Wharton. But she wrote about...
Hey, I got a little trick. If you're on an iPad or an iPhone, you go to this article, you click up in the line where you put www.
Yep.
On the left, you can click a little thing and it'll say show reader view.
Yes.
And boom, it like blasts the paywall and I get the entire article. Easy, no ads, nice and clean. Don't tell anybody I told you.
Oh, wow. So that'll be on an Apple product.
Yes.
iPad. Oh, great. So Rachel interviewed a bunch of different people. There are Native American groups that are reintroducing pawpaw because it's a native food in North America. And it also talked about the University of Kentucky is breeding commercial varieties that they have patented, and you can buy them from approved nurseries that they sell their stock, their root stock. Well, it's called root stock, but they sell their patented pawpaw trees too, and they grow them bigger. And then there's a gentleman in New Jersey who has a retirement hobby, started growing different varieties, and then he sold 50 a year until 2 years ago when pawpaw trees blew up, and he sold 250. And I emailed him and he said 2 years in a row now. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm already sold out. Cause I emailed him, I think in April, you know?
Pre-sold, huh?
Yeah. So I gotta suck up to this guy and just drive out there and hand him a check in December, you know?
Or hey, next time you drive down to Myrtle Beach, just stop by here and we'll dig some up and throw them in burlap for you.
Yeah. So the one thing I have seen, and there's another article which you sent me called from a Substack writer, Jeremy Markovich. It's called North Carolina Rabbit Holes, the name of his Substack. And he wrote about how he had discovered them as a kid, rediscovered as an adult, became he got a little obsessed about it. But a lot of people don't think they taste very good.
Well, I mean, if you like, I would describe it as everyone that tasted it has ever tasted or smelled a mango references that particular taste smell, and I say mango banana. But then I read one of those the two articles that we're referencing, and somebody said mango pineapple banana, and I can see that now. It's just a hint. It's very interesting, but it's goopy. It's not like an apple. It's
right.
like
Custardy was the word I used.
That's right, custardy, because I think there is a custard apple that grows in the tropics, and the pawpaw is the largest fruit that is native to North America.
Oh wow! Because apple trees, I'm pretty sure, are not native to North America.
I would say no. Johnny brought them.
Yeah. I was introduced to pawpaws not only with this article, but my next door neighbor, who was a botanist at Battery Park City, the World Financial Center, and he has 2 pawpaw trees in his yard. They're fairly small, but 2 years ago he handed one to me over the fence, and it had that beautiful custardy taste. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So then I saw the Rachel Wharton article in the Times, and I was like, uh-oh, I got to get one of these.
You have to have 2.
Yes. I think the problem with people that don't like the taste is, I've seen this with other fruits as well, is they harvest them before they're ripe.
Yeah, when they're not ripe, you can tell. You can just squeeze it. Like I would say, it's like if you can pick a good avocado, you can pick a good pawpaw.
Yes. I also think that some of the wild varieties are underwhelming in taste, and that like the University of Kentucky and other commercial breeders are breeding ones that taste really good. And those are the ones that you should buy and plant.
The ones that we have here, I don't know how anyone could complain about the flavor, because it washes over your tongue. It's crazy. No, everyone that has tried it, I just say, here, just rip it open and just stick your tongue in there and just taste it, and they're like, oh my goodness. The custardiness is a little off-putting, but more so to me, I think, than other people who aren't such picky eaters.
Yeah.
So we're going to take some of them and scoop out the seeds, and we're going to put them in ice trays and freeze them, and then pop them out, and then throw them in bags, and then shrink wrap those. What do you call it? Vacuum seal them.
Yep.
And then throw them into the freezer, and because the time to get them is so limited, you might find a recipe or a use for them down the road, and it's too late. But we'll still have some.
I'm excited about it just talking to you about it here. So I like the North Carolina Rabbit Hole Jeremy Markovich article, because he is like me and you, I think, where there's this thing pops into his brain and he goes down literally a rabbit hole with it, becoming just OCD about it, and wanting to learn everything you can about it. And to the point that in the article, he got a new job, and in the parking lot of where his new job was a pawpaw tree, and he got all excited, and no one else in the office, they were like, what are you talking about?
He's like me. I've turned into an evangelist for
there
the pawpaw.
Go. And then he was riding his bike home. He had to drop his car off at the shop. I guess he rode his bike home, and he saw some pawpaw trees on the side of a brook or a stream. and he tried to like climb through the brambles to get to harvest them, and he fell and got all mangled, but he finally harvested some of them. And then they didn't taste very good. His friends were like, "Well, this isn't." I think he harvested them before they were ripe. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I do that same kind of thing where all of a sudden I'm like, I want to learn everything I can about a certain, like beer brewing, home beer brewing. Probably like 15 years ago, I became obsessive about that. And it
I
was
think I
just,
did it. I think 25 years ago I did that.
and you're like, oh well, how's this work? And then I had met some mentors, online, and I'm like, well, what do I do with this? And what happened if this goes wrong? And so yeah, now it's pawpaws for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to if I can find a few bunches like this, and I have some that are sitting here on the front. I'm out in my garage right now, and I just cut off the branch, and it's about maybe a foot and a half long, and I'd say there's 7 or 8 really nice size ones and a couple little golf ball size ones in a bunch that all grew together. I just cut the branch off and hung it out in front of the garage, and I could tell that they weren't quite ripe yet,
Yep.
but very close. But I knew I wasn't going to be a quarter mile walking down the creek to this tree again by the end of the week. So I cut it off, hung it up, and they've been hanging out there for a few days now. And just before we started the show, I went out to check on them, and they're starting to get the little browny black spots on them.
Mm-hmm.
So they are sort of like a banana where they can ship them to you and they will ripen up. I don't know if they'll ripen up off the vine. That's why I kind of left them on the the piece of the branch. But if I can find another batch like that, I'm gonna pack them up and send them to you, like 2-day mail. And
Uh
you just tell me if I need to send them north or send them south.
oh. So everyone, I've gotten some packages from Jimmy, and it's been interesting every time. So
Yeah, do you want some more of that southern what was it, the biscuit flour?
no, I'm good. I don't. I'm on the weight loss thing now, so I can't have biscuits.
Well, that's right. You're on the weight loss thing. You quit drinking. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to stay friends.
Hey, real quick, if you would like to help support the show, one way is to use the Amazon link for GardenFork. I said that backwards. The GardenFork Amazon link. It's in the show notes here. It's amazon.com/shop/GardenFork. If you use that link, it'll take you to our shopping page. We can see the cool tools I use, cookbooks. I have several lists there of stuff. But also, by visiting that page, then doing all your shopping, we get a finder's fee for whatever you shop for that day. That's really helpful. Amazon.com/shop/GardenFork. Thank you.
Oh, so hey, all right, off the pawpaws. The other thing we were going to talk about was jet boating, an update.
Yes. Last time you were on the show, which was way too long ago, you had taken a jet ski, taken out the motor, and put it into this custom-made, I think, aluminum welded jet boat, which can go really fast in shallow water, I think.
Yes, we talked. It was like the first week of February last year, and I had only had the thing at that point for about 1 month, and I had it out on the lake a few times, but it was in January. But since then, I've taken the thing on 3 different trips. One from North Carolina, where I'm at, to some guys from Ohio and West Virginia brought their combined 3 boats down. So we had 4 boats. We went to South Carolina, popped into the PD River, which is just a nasty, muddy, brown, ugly, mud bank, dead tree river.
Great.
It was, yeah, but what we were looking for is to go in some of the creeks that came into that river.
Yep.
And we went up a few and sort of hit some skinny water and down trees and stuff that were making it impassable. It was it was an amazing trip. We got back out of there. We stopped in Georgia, hit some rivers there. Then we went to Florida. We met up with a guy who's into these giant monster truck rallies that go all up and down the East Coast called Trucks Gone Wild. Stayed at his house. He has a giant aircraft hangar that where he works on trucks because they're so big you can't get them in a regular building. We went on a lake, went all the way across this lake, up a river that's feet, and we went through. So we go through a set of locks, and we're probably 40 feet down, and we're in these 10 feet long boats, and we have to hold on to these like algae covered barge ropes that are hanging on the sides of the walls as they flood the lock and bring us up.
Yeah.
And we go through there up into up to the Crystal River, and we start to see, everybody's on kayaks and canoes and paddle boards, and the Crystal River is totally clear. And here I am with a 2-stroke, smoking jet boat, and I feel like I don't think I want to take my 2-stroke jet boat down this river. We're seeing manatees and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we turn around and we come back, and I run out of gas because I got a 2-stroke, and everybody has to run down. It's dark, and bring gas back to me. It was quite the adventure. Quite the adventure.
Wow. Well, that's nice you opted to not deal with the manatees and the paddle boarders.
We didn't think we were going to get that far. And we probably shouldn't have, obviously, because I ran out of gas.
Yeah.
But that was an adventure. Then we went up just here in March to West Virginia and went on the Ohio River. And we went 65 miles up Middle Island Creek, which is, if it was another mile long, it would be a river. And that was a crazy adventure. No one thought we could do that. These things will really go anywhere, but let me tell you, all this abuse comes at a cost. I had the boat out 4th of July on a lake in Virginia, and the bilge starts pumping, shooting water out the side. And I'm like, oh, well, I got some splashing here. No, it just kept doing it about every minute and a half. So after that trip, brought it to my cousin. He had it for a month, had to strip everything off of it. He said I had broken so many welds and cracked so many bolts that he filled it with water. He said it looked like a cheese grater, or like a pasta strainer, water coming out everywhere. But I just got the thing back a couple of days ago, and now it's time to go out and break it again. We're planning another trip, and we might go to Kentucky or Tennessee and hit some crazy, really big, scary water.
All right. I hope you're wearing a life preserver, life jacket.
Absolutely. And a helmet. Yeah. They're solid aluminum. If you hit something, there's really nothing to there's no padding anywhere other than the seat.
So if people are interested in jet boats, you sent me some videos on YouTube. Is there a particular YouTuber that you like to follow there, or?
Well, the guy that builds them, his name is David, and he owns a company called River Rat Jet Boats, and you can find him on Instagram and Facebook, and I think if you just search River Rat Jet Boats, you'll find it. But there's another guy he sold one to. The whole reason that I found out about these boats is he sold one to a guy who's a big YouTuber up in Maryland. His name is Aqua Chigger, like chiggers, the bugs, they get you. Aqua Chigger. And he bought one, and I saw his video, and that's how I found out there was a guy in Ohio making the boats. So we all got together just maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we went up and showed the Chig how the boats work, because he ended up getting a new boat. He bought like a cheap version. It didn't get this, didn't buy that, didn't want to spend all the money, and he realized it was a mistake. So now he's got a really cool tricked out one. If you want to see some cool video, look up Aqua Chigger and just Aqua Chigger jet boat. And maybe if you search for Potomac, because we were on the Potomac River in Hagerstown, he goes looking for Civil War memorabilia, bullets, belt buckles, he metal detects, he snorkels, mudlarking, looking for bottles. Really cool channel. You ought to check him out.
I have. He's a fun guy. I like just trying to find stuff, which is cool. Wow.
I met up with him and I gave him a hollow book, my little side business, hollow books. And I gave him one and he said, "Hey, you want me to do like a little video and show off your books and stuff?" And I said, "Well, the business that I'm in is really crazy during the summer. So I said, if you want to do one maybe in October for the Christmas season coming up, that'd be really cool." So I think that might be in the cards.
Yeah, karma is boomerang. So it's just it's do for others and it'll come back at you in multiples, I think.
Well, Eric, we don't have to wait not so long before we do this again, buddy.
Yeah. Well, you have to stick around because we're going to do the after show for the GardenFork patrons. We're going to talk about something that only Jimmy and I know about. That's not just going to hint at that. But everyone, if you have a pawpaw tree story or a jet boat story, it's radio@gardenfork.tv. You can also check out the GardenFork YouTube channel. Just type in GardenFork on YouTube and boom, there we are. So, Jimmy, where can people find you?
Well, you can go to hollowbooks.com if you want to see exactly what that's all about. Maybe you got some money that you want to hide, or your kid's going off to college. He could hide his money or his phone or unmentionables in a dictionary, or something that no college kid's ever going to pick up.
I actually have a hollow book from Jimmy, and it is very useful. I actually had a bunch of I sold something a while ago, and so there was like a couple $1,000s in cash, and I threw it in the book Jimmy gave me. I won't tell you where the book is. And then like a year later, I'm like, "Oh, there's Jimmy's book," and I pulled it out, and I forgot all the money was in there.
Hey, that's nice. Hey, so it's a savings plan as well.
Yeah, it is. All right, Jimmy and I are going to stick around, but everyone, let me know. It's radio@gardenfork.tv. Thank you all. I'll see you. GardenFork Radio is produced by GardenFork Media LLC in Brooklyn, New York. Our producer is Sean O'Neill. If you need an amazing podcast producer, visit Sean's site, SeanInBrooklyn.com. That's Sean, SEAN, in Brooklyn.com. Our executive producer is Jimmy Goots. For more information about Jimmy and the custom hollow books he makes, visit hollowbooks.com. The music in the show is licensed from audioblocks.com and uniquetracks.com.